There is a moment, and you have lived it, when you look at your life and realize that the habits you thought were harmless have quietly become the architecture of who you are. Not the dramatic choices, not the big decisions, the small, daily, almost invisible things you do before the world wakes up and after it goes to sleep. Most people spend their lives waiting for a turning point, a crisis, a diagnosis, a loss, something loud enough to force change. The Stoics did not wait. They built themselves deliberately, one day at a time, through discipline that had nothing to do with punishment and everything to do with intention. You might be thinking right now, I have tried habits before, I have tried routines, they never stick. And you are right to be skeptical, because most of what gets sold as habit advice is designed for people with nothing to lose and nothing to unlearn. You are not that person. You have decades of patterns inside you. Some of them are holding you up. Others are slowly pulling you under. This is not a list of tricks. This is a map. A map drawn by people who lived in times far harder than ours. Men who faced war, exile, slavery, and the collapse of empire, and still chose to build themselves with care every single morning. The first habit is this: begin the day with a question, not a plan. Marcus Aurelius did not wake up and check what the world needed from him. He woke up and asked what kind of man he intended to be that day. In his private journal, the one he never meant for anyone to read, he wrote words that were almost like a daily reckoning. He reminded himself of his values before he was tested by circumstance. The practice is simple. Before you reach for your phone, before you speak to anyone, sit for 2 minutes and ask, what do I want to be today? Not do, but be. Patient, present, honest, calm. Let the answer settle, then carry it with you. The second habit is voluntary discomfort. Seneca wrote that we should practice poverty occasionally, not because poverty is noble, but because the fear of losing comfort is often more destructive than the loss itself. He would go days eating plain food, wearing rough clothing, living simply, not as punishment, but as training, so that when difficulty came, and it always comes, his mind already knew it could survive. You do not need to be dramatic about this. Skip the comfort you reach for out of habit, not out of genuine need. The extra glass of wine, the scroll that goes nowhere, the avoidance of a conversation you have been postponing for weeks. Small discomforts, chosen deliberately, build a kind of inner confidence that no amount of success can buy. The third habit is the evening audit. Not a journal in the decorative sense, not a gratitude list designed to make you feel better about a day you have not yet examined. The Stoics practiced something closer to a courtroom. Epictetus taught his students to end each day by reviewing their actions honestly, not to punish themselves, but to understand themselves. The format is 3 questions. Where did I act in accordance with my values today? Where did I fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow? That is all. 10 minutes, no more. The goal is not to feel good or bad about the day. The goal is to see it clearly. A life examined this way compounds over time in ways that are difficult to describe, but impossible to miss. The fourth habit is reading something old. Not the news, not an article written last Tuesday, something written by someone who has been dead for centuries and somehow still knows exactly what you are going through. There is a reason the meditations of Marcus Aurelius have never gone out of print. There is a reason Seneca's letters feel like they were written to you personally. Old wisdom has survived because it touches something that does not change in human nature. Give yourself 15 minutes a day with a book that has stood the test of time. Not to collect quotes, not to impress anyone, but to let another mind, a serious, tested, honest mind, sit beside yours for a while. The fifth habit is the deliberate pause before reaction. You might be thinking, I know this one. And perhaps you do, but knowing it and practicing it are separated by an enormous distance. Epictetus was once a slave. He had every reason to react from anger, from humiliation, from pain, and yet his entire philosophy was built around one idea. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a space. In that space lives your freedom. The practice is physical, not just mental. When you feel the pull of a strong reaction, irritation at someone's words, anxiety about something you cannot control, the urge to say something you will regret, pause and take one slow breath before you speak. One breath is enough to change what you say next. Over months, this single habit will alter your relationships more than any conversation you could have. The sixth habit is to define what is enough. Modern life has no natural ceiling. There is always more to earn, more to achieve, more to acquire. Seneca called this one of the most dangerous traps a person can fall into, the belief that satisfaction lives just beyond the next threshold. He watched wealthy men who were genuinely miserable, not because they had failed, but because they had never decided what success actually meant to them. Sit down this week and write a single sentence that completes this thought. I would consider my life well lived if, at the end of it, I had blank. Not what others would say, not what looks impressive, what you, in the quiet of your own mind, actually want your life to have been about. The seventh habit is to spend time with the right people and less time apologizing for it. This is something the Stoics were direct about in a way that can feel uncomfortable at first. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private notes that he had learned to be careful about whose company he kept, not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. He understood that we absorb the attitudes of those around us the way cloth absorbs dye. Slowly, without noticing, until one day you look at yourself and wonder when you became so cynical, so small, so exhausted. You might be thinking right now, but these are my family members, my old friends, people I cannot simply remove from my life. And that is true. The Stoics were not asking you to abandon anyone. They were asking you to be honest about the effect certain relationships have on the person you are trying to become. You can love someone and still limit how much of your inner world you share with them. The practical side of this habit is not about cutting people out. It is about being intentional with your attention. Seek out one person each week whose presence leaves you feeling more alive, more thoughtful, more like yourself. That is enough. The eighth habit is to do one thing each day that requires your full attention. We live in an age of constant distraction, and the damage this does to a mature mind is something most people do not talk about honestly. When you are 25, a fragmented attention feels manageable. When you are 50 or 60, you begin to sense that something important is slipping away. The ability to think deeply, to be fully present, to finish a thought without interruption. Epictetus taught that the quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. Not your income, not your status, your attention. Choose one thing each day, a walk, a meal, a conversation, a page of reading, and give it everything. No phone nearby, no background noise, just you, fully present for 20 minutes. This is harder than it sounds. It is also more restorative than almost anything else you can do for your mind. The ninth habit is to rehearse impermanence. The Stoics called this memento mori, the remembrance that everything ends. Not as a morbid exercise, but as a clarifying one. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself regularly that the people he admired, the cities he ruled, the problems that consumed him, all of it would pass. And rather than making him despair, it made him more awake to what was in front of him. Try this once a week. Look at something you love, a person, a place, a season of your life, and allow yourself to fully feel that it will not last forever. Not to grieve it prematurely, but to appreciate it completely, right now, while it is still here. People who practice this consistently report that small pleasures become more vivid and small irritations lose most of their power. The 10th habit is the simplest and the most demanding of all. Keep your word to yourself. Not to others, you likely already understand the importance of that, but to yourself. The Stoics believed that integrity was not primarily a social virtue, it was an internal one. Every time you tell yourself you will do something and then do not do it, you are teaching your own mind that your intentions cannot be trusted. Over years, this creates a particular kind of inner weakness that no external achievement can compensate for. Start small. Make one promise to yourself today that you know you can keep. Not an ambitious goal, not a transformation. One small, concrete commitment. Wake up at the time you set. Take the walk you said you would take. Have the conversation you have been avoiding, and then keep it. Not because anyone is watching, because you are watching, and you are the only audience that ultimately matters. These 10 habits are not a program. They are not a system you install and wait for results. They are practices, in the original sense of that word. Things you return to imperfectly, repeatedly, over a long period of time. The Stoics were not people who achieved inner peace and then coasted. They were people who chose every morning to begin again. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world and still wrote to himself each night like a student who had not yet learned enough. That is the posture, not arrival. Continuous, humble, honest effort. You already have what you need to begin. Not tomorrow, not after the next difficulty passes. Today, with the next hour, with the next choice that asks you who you intend to be. The life you want is not waiting for a turning point, it is waiting for a practice.